Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new episode on the podcast. According to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal interested in signing one striker, one major striker in 2024, and the two top targets for that position are Victor Osimhen and Ivan Toney. However, the two targets are also the same targets exactly for Chelsea, and that means that if Arsenal sign Ivan Toney, Osimhen will be going to Chelsea, and if it's Chelsea sign Osimhen, Ivan Toney will be going to Arsenal and vice versa. So in this video, we're going to be diving into why Arsenal need to be focusing on one of the strikers and who we need to be focusing on. Now, in the comment box below, what you're going to do is easy. You're going to let me know which of these two strikers Arsenal need to be, focusing on. Is it Ivan Toney for you? Is it Victor Osimhen for you? Both of them high quality strikers, top quality strikers. I think Ivan Toney, for me, in the Premier League, one of the best strikers right now we have in the league. Victor Osimhen, in terms of the global scene, in terms of European football, he's one of the best we have, on the European scene, on the world scene. He's a monster. He's becoming himself, he's becoming a monster himself. And Arsenal, Mikel Arteta are trying to discuss who do we sign and who is actually going to do a much better job, for us at the club. So for me, I already have an option. Actually, I think Arsenal need to sign one of them, and I'm going to be revealing my option later on in the video. But before I do, let me know who would be your target, who would be your option of these two. I think Mikel Arteta is a wise manager, and he's going to go with a very smart option. He might go with and I won't be surprised. He might go with Victor Osimhen, right? He might go with Victor Osimhen, given the pricing and given the amount of time Victor Osimhen has been doing the job as well consistently in the last 2-3 years. He might go with Victor Osimhen, but we are going to be diving into all that. Right. So Fabrizio Romano says that Arsenal are keeping tabs on Ivan Toney because they think it's a deal they could do in January. And they're literally trying to discuss internally before attacking the situation. However, they appreciate both strikers. They appreciate, Ivan Toney. They appreciate Victor Osimhen as well. So if it comes to the summer, Arsenal will have some thinking to do. Arsenal will have some deliberation to do in what, in who are we going to sign? It is not going to be about Arsenal focusing on one striker. If Ivan Toney is available by the summer and he's attainable and he's affordable and the price is right, Arsenal will consider him. If Victor Osimhen, who has a release clause of 100 and I think 13 million euros or million pounds actually, is the one who is available and the deal is doable, then Arsenal will consider that deal, right? So let's start off with Ivan Toney because it's the player that I really think Arsenal are much interested in at the moment because we want a quick term fix, but also someone who can do, who can do for us the job long term. And Ivan Toney fits that bracket. He's 26 years of age, will be turning 27 very, very shortly. And these days, strikers are becoming really, really good at an older age. I'm not saying you go and sign a Karim Benzema who is 38, but when you sign a striker who is 26 and above, 25 and above, they're actually better than signing a younger striker. I think a couple of years ago in football, getting yourself a young striker meant that you brought in a trophy. Strikers were like trophies. You get in your striker at 19, at 20, yeah, and he could do the job. You look at Robert Lewandowski at Borussia Dortmund at a very young age. You look at all these the likes of Wayne Rooney at Manchester United at a very young age. Robin van Persie to Arsenal at a very young age. It was fascinating the way young strikers would just light up the scene and give us a very, very good, a very good performance. But these days, it is actually the opposite. Strikers are blossoming late. Strikers are becoming like goalkeepers. They're blossoming late. They're becoming better and finer, just like wine. The older it becomes, the better it gets. And that is why I think Osimhen and Ivan Toney are the right targets. So big up to Mikel Arteta and big up to Edu. A round of applause to you guys. They've done well. They've gone with the right profiles and they've gone with the right age. I mean, there's so many other younger strikers out there, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. But I think if you're looking for a poacher, if you're looking for a number 9, then right now, a finished article, it is 25 and above, 25, 26 and above. That is the guy that has gone through um, hell. That is the guy that has, scored a couple of goals, had a disappointing season. A couple of those had good seasons. A couple of those, and now he's ready to find the balance between a bad season and a good season. These are the strikers that are scoring 10 or 15 to 30 goals per campaign. Of course, they're the likes of Erling Haaland, the likes of Kylian Mbappe, that are freaks of this world, freaks of nature. But look at Robert Lewandowski, you look at Benzema, and the amount of goals he's been scoring. That's what we're talking about. Look at Osinmhen, look at Ivan Toney last season as well. Look at Harry Kane. I think all the strikers are taking over the strikers scene by storm. So Ivan Toney, why exactly should Arsenal focus on Ivan Toney, and why does Mikel Arteta really like him very much? Now, first and foremost, his numbers actually stand for him and they speak for themselves. He's such a quality player and he's scored the goals. He's really scored the goals. I mean, we always talk about players that are actually not really there. I think he is there. So in the 2 seasons he's played in the Premier League so far, 2021, 2022, 12 goals scored, 5 assisted. That is 17 goal contributions. That is not a bad return for a striker coming out of the championship, coming out of the second tier of English football to come and actually blow up the scene. I think that was a very good return. 17 goals in 33 games, I think that's okay. But look at last season, 2022-2023, Ivan Toney scoring 20 goals and assisting 4 times. That is 24 goal contributions in 24 goal contributions in 33 games. The only players that were better than him in that season were Erling Haaland, who was in the ranges of 30 plus, and Harry Kane, who was absolutely unplayable. And we know the quality of Erling Haaland, and we know the quality of Harry Kane. So it's not a mistake then, and it is not a miscalculation that Mikel Arteta is crazy about Ivan Toney. And he has always been crazy about Ivan Toney, even in 2021 and even in 2022 as well. But this is something for you to focus on, something for you to look at. These are the numbers of Ivan Toney in the championship in the season 2020-2021. 48 games for them. In the championship, the guy scored 33 goals. Like, ever since he had this campaign, he has not looked back. Ever since he's had this campaign, he's not stopped scoring. 33 goals, 10 assists. That is 43 goal involvements in 48 appearances. This guy is a freak. This guy is an absolute freak. And I understand now why Mikel Arteta has him on top of this list. I understand why Mikel is crazy about him. And we wanted to sign him during 2020-21. We tried to sign him during 2021-2022. And now in 2022-2023 as well. And now 2024, we are still looking at the same guy. And we know Mikel Arteta loves players that he has actually scouted well. He loves players that he has looked at. And listen, in terms of age, right now, he was born in 1996. He's 27 years of age. I thought he was turning 27. He's already 27 at the moment. And that's not even an issue. He's such a good quality player. So in terms of numbers, Ivan Toney, definitely, there is no question about that. But then there are other things that we've got to focus on. Number one, he's a Premier League proven player. And Mikel Arteta, as a manager, ever since he's come in, he has focused himself on signing players that are bred in the Premier League or have had that Premier League experience, right? Not only those, but he focuses and he prefers players that have a Premier League experience. I think there are so many other players that he could have signed instead of Kai Havertz, but he's decided to go for Kai Havertz because Kai Havertz has got that Premier League experience. The same with Benjamin White, the same with players like Alexander Zinchenko, the same with players like Gabriel Jesus, David Raya, and Aaron Ramsdale. So it might be an added advantage that Toney has Premier League football. It might be an added advantage. I'm not saying Mikel would definitely look at him because he's got Premier League experience and says, no one else, don't chat to me. I think he will look at other players. But in terms of that one element, We know Mikel buys players from the Premier League, and therefore Toney stands a very big chance. He stands a very, very good chance. The other thing that I want us to talk about when it comes to Ivan Toney, the profile of the player and why he thrives very well in the Premier League. Physicality, hold up play, and he's a fox in the box, right? So I'm not saying Osinmhen is none. So we'll talk about Osinmhen as well. But look at Ivan Toney right there on your screen. He is not really huge to Andy Carroll levels or Olivier Giroud levels, but this is not a striker your defender is going to deal with. Your ordinary defender is going to deal with. He's giving problems, and he will give problems to 99% of defenders in the Premier League. The only defender that I think he would struggle against in this Premier League, maybe William Saliba and maybe Virgil van Dijk. I don't think Ruben Diaz actually, would shut down Ivan Toney completely, because Diaz is not what he's not like a 1v1 guy. His game is much better at game reading, and his game is much better at doing the right things right and quickly. So I think there are only two defenders for me, and maybe Lewis Dunk, but Lewis Dunk at times he has a good game, at times he struggles a little bit. So I think there's only two defenders that Ivan Toney wouldn't bully. So that means that if Arsenal are going into a game and we're taking on Liverpool and we're taking on Man City and we're taking on Chelsea, we are going with the player that they are concerned about. We're going with the player that they're concerned about in terms of form and ability, in terms of goal scoring, but also a player who is huge, a player who's got that, that meat. I mean, yeah, right? It's the same reason as why we are afraid of Erling Haaland. It's the same thing as why Moyes has gone, my striker is Mikel Antonio, deal with that. And clubs have actually failed to deal with Mikel Antonio, because how do you deal with him? He's quick, he's powerful, he's a bully. And I think Arsenal need a bully. This is a group of small players. This is a group of players that are not huge. I mean, there's Declan Rice there, but look at the rest of the players. Odegaard and Kai Havertz, small. Saka, Martinelli, small. So you need a different profile. You need a different texture, right? So that when someone is trying to reigns, they actually feel some stones in the squad. And Ivan Toney, Declan Rice, William Saliba, those could be the real stones in this Arsenal squad. I like Ivan Toney. I really, really do. And it's going to be very interesting that Arsenal don't sign him, because I told you, he is a major risk if Arsenal sign him in January. He is a major risk. Why? Because he's been out there for 8 months not playing football, and there's a lot going on in his head. He's previously done an interview, and he said there's a time where he hated football. So mentally, we know he's okay, and we hope he's okay. But let us see when he comes back, how does he deal with all that? How does he deal with the lack of game time? How does he deal with I've been away from my team, now I'm back? He has scored a hat-trick in a behind closed doors game. Yeah, that is not to scare you, but you should be scared. Yeah, so he scored a hat-trick in a behind closed doors games, recently when he's come back. I think he's coming back on the next game Brentford play. And maybe that will communicate to us. Maybe that will tell us that he's ready. I mean, he's got a point to prove as a player. He's got a point to prove. He wants to tell everyone that doubted him that, listen, all you doubters, all you people that are doubting me, I'm actually this good. I'm not as bad as you think. And I'm ready to come back and play football, right? So for me, Ivan Toney, the numbers and everything, he's okay. But what about the disadvantages? What about the downside? Does he have a downside? I think he does. And number one, look at the yellow cards he's actually picking up in past season. Last season, 33 games, 9 yellow cards. He was very close to getting a 10th yellow card, so that he misses actually another game. Like, as a striker, why are you even getting suspended for one game because through accumulated yellow cards? 9 yellow cards, 8 yellow cards in his first season in the Premier League. And do you know how many he got in the championship? 9 yellow cards as well. So I'm not saying don't sign him because of the yellow cards. I'm saying he's got to work on his discipline. He's got to work on his on his yellow cards. There's no manager that's going to want a player who is very good, but he can't be available because he's picked up a fifth yellow card or he's picked up a 10th yellow card, and therefore he's going to miss 2 games. He's going to sit 2 games because he has 10 yellow cards. I mean, I don't think so. Now, this could also be the fact that he's playing at Brentford. And at Brentford, they are fighters. You've seen them. We've played them. They've beaten us before, haven't they? They're fighters. They fight for the ball. They will get their mark on you. They're dangerous. They're deadly. And because they're always out of position and they're hunting for the ball, it could be one of the reasons why Ivan is always on a yellow. So maybe if he comes into a team like Arsenal or if he goes to a club like Chelsea, then he doesn't have to hunt for the ball a lot. He doesn't have to always be chasing. He's always going to be chased, right? But again, he's got to work on his discipline. 8 to 10 yellow cards per season, that is not good. And it is consistent, right? It's consistent. Look at that. 8, 9, championship, 9. It is consistent. It shows that in terms of discipline, he's actually not the best. But the good thing, he's not picking up red cards. Again, that is good. We are not seeing any red cards. He just needs to calm down on those yellow cards. They're not actually the best thing. I've not seen any other thing that I would criticize about him. Maybe one question: can he reproduce those numbers at a big club? So I think he's better than Christian Benteke. We can all agree, can't we? He's better than Christian Benteke. He's also better than Andy Carroll. He's done it for 3 good seasons, guys. He's better than Andy Carroll. Okay. I think he's better than Olivier Giroud. Is he? Is he better than Olivier Giroud? I mean, Giroud has kind of blossomed in his late 20s and he's become a monster, and early 30s as well. But I think what we saw from Olivier Giroud in the Premier League, we can say Ivan Toney is better than Olivier Giroud, right? Can he reproduce those numbers? Can he perfectly give us what he's giving Brentford? I mean, when these strikers come to this to big sides, they're getting bigger money. They've been brought in for probably 100 million, and at times they struggle. At times they struggle to to keep up with the demands. The fans are demanding goals. The manager is demanding you to actually save him because he spent 100 million on you, and you as a person, this is all getting to your head. So can he is he the player that can actually come in and do the job like the likes of Erling Haaland? Erling Haaland really doesn't care where he's playing. At Salzburg, boom, goes. At Dortmund, bang, goes. At Chelsea, boom, bang, goes. And the guy really doesn't even care about his price tag, about how much his money is earning, about how young he is. He was born to score goals, and that's what he does. I believe in Ivan Toney. I really think he can come in at Arsenal and he can break the strikers curse that we have. I want to be honest with you. I don't think Arsenal have had a very good striker signing in as many years ever since we signed um, Thierry Henry. So we have had players that have come close. Ruben van Persie has come close because he scored 30 goals in a campaign for us. That was remarkable, remarkable. Um, Adebayo was good, but we didn't get enough time to see the full stretch of what Adebayo would have been. Eduardo was good, but then he picked up that nasty injury, and his career kind of became, you know, uh, stunted. Olivier Giroud was not that good. Lucas Podolski was not that good. Lacazette was definitely not good. And Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was good for the first 3 campaigns, or maybe 2 campaigns. I think 3 campaigns. And then the rest of the time, he wasn't actually that good. So I would want us to sign a striker who we can trust for 4 years. A striker who can score for us 18 goals and above for 4 seasons running. Can that be Ivan Toney? I believe he can. I believe he's got the ability as a player to actually provide that quality, to provide that output. But then that also depends on the mentality of the player. So let's talk about Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen, Nigerian, 25 years of age, playing at Napoli right now. If you're looking for a striker who is actually absolutely scoring goals for fun, he is Victor Osimhen. He has had a very good campaign last season. He scored 26 goals. So let's look at the numbers of Victor Osimhen. We've done it with Ivan Toney. We've looked at his numbers. So Osimhen, 2020-2021, 24 appearances, 10 goals. That was not bad. 2021-2022, 27 games, 14 goals. So he scored 4 more. 22-23, last season, best season of his life. 30 goal contributions, 4 assists, and 26 goals just in the Italian Serie A. Not in all competitions, right? Just in the Italian Serie A. Then, this season, 13 games, 7 goals, 2 assists. The Nigerian-born international has arrived. Victor Osimhen is real quality now. Because for me, you will remember when we were looking at Osimhen and Vlahovic and Isak. That was in the summer of 2022 and early January 2022 as well. I think I said this statement. I articulated these words. Isak and Osimhen have not had a good season to prove to us that they are top quality strikers. Ever since then, Isak and Osimhen have performed much better, and they have proven to me that they are much better strikers than Dusan Vlahovic. And I'm sorry, I was right. I was right. They had not proven to the world, they had not proven to us that they are ready to launch. They are ready to be launched as the big money strikers. Now, they're ready to be launched. Osimhen is ready to be launched. Those numbers are absolutely crazy. So when you look at what he's done at Napoli, in 13 games, 9 goal contributions. Last season, 32 games, he had 30 goal contributions. 27 games, again, 16 goal contributions, and 13 goal contributions in 24 games in 2020-2021. That was good. And he's not just scoring for them in all these other competitions. Last season, 6 games in the UEFA Champions League, 5 goals. That is a good striker there, guys. That is a very good striker. At 25, listen, at 25, this guy is good, right? This guy is really, really, really good. You know, for him to be giving us this kind of numbers, he's actually really good. And Mikel Arteta is also prepared to wait until the summer and look at both of them. Osimhen has a release clause of 113 million pounds. So you don't need to negotiate a lot. You don't need to talk to Aureli De Laurentiis because according to what I've heard, the release clause might increase to a certain level. Now, I don't think Osimhen is going to give us the same number of goals he did last campaign. But the fact that he's already scored 7 with the problems he has, by the way, at Napoli, I mean, we know the problems. I can't say them right now, but we know the problems at Napoli. And also with the nature of, decline, general decline, drastic, maybe not really drastic, but the decline at Napoli. They've lost their manager who won them the Scudetto, and the team is not performing at the highest levels. For him to be still doing it consistently, for him to still be doing his job, that is nice, right? I don't think Napoli are creating as much as Arsenal are creating right now. I don't think Napoli are exciting as they were last campaign or as Arsenal are this campaign or even last campaign. So you put Osimhen in our structure. I think the equation is goes, goes, goes. Absolutely. Goes, goes, goes. My fear with Victor Osimhen coming from the Italian Serie A and adapting to the Premier League. The rest of the advantages, apart from being Premier League proven, very similar to Ivan Toney. Maybe he's not a huge guy, but he's a threat. When you have Osimhen up top, clubs will be afraid. Clubs will be concerned about. But the question: can this Nigerian man adapt to the Premier League? We have seen them. Chelsea will bear us witness. They brought in Alvaro Morata, like real number 9, real striker, and he's flopped. They brought in Gonzalo Higuain, and he has flopped. brought in players and they have flopped. So can it come from the Italian Serie A where people actually think defenders are more serious in the Italian Serie A than in the Premier League? Don't even dare lie to yourself. Yes, the Catanaccio was there, that defensive, that healthy education of breeding defenders and defensive discipline, but I don't think it is there. I think the Italian Serie A is now very, very advanced and very open to goal scorers and scoring goals and free flowing football. I watch the Italian Serie A lot of the time, and I tell you, Milan will score five. Milan will concede five. Inter Milan can put five past Juventus, and Juventus can put five past Napoli. So the Catanaccio football defenders are very hard to score against. I don't see that. I mean, the quality of football is not as advanced as the Premier League, but it's enjoyable. So, can Osimhen come and adapt to the Premier League? There is your question, and that is something Mikel has to think about, because he has decided to cut out the adaptability part of players by signing only players, or mostly players, that have actually done it in the Premier League, and it has worked out. So if he decides to take a risk on Victor Osimhen, with that risk payoff, big question. Can Osimhen come in at Arsenal and give us the number of goals under a 100 million pound pressure price tag? That's another question. But what I like about him, he's been in the Champions League. He's been at a title winning side like Napoli. He's lived the experience. I tell you, Ivan Toney will struggle with that jump, right? He will struggle with that jump. But look at Osimhen here. Look at the clubs he's played for, right? So he's played for Napoli. He's represented Nigeria. He's played for Lille Metropole, right? LOSC. That is Lille Metropole. He's played for Charleroi. He's played for Wolfsburg. So I would say Wolfsburg and Lille are at the same level, right? Are at the same level as Brentford. And Napoli, maybe Arsenal are, are a bit at a higher level than Napoli, but Napoli being recent Scudetto winners, that puts him in a puts them in a much better position than Arsenal are in, right? So I would say Osimhen can do the job as well. But who would I choose, right? Who would I choose between the two? Tony's 27, so it means that unless he's going to play very good football until 33, 34, um, his career might be shorter. Osimhen is 25. He has those 5 years until 30, right? He has those 5 years until 30. And I'm kind of very, very tempted to gravitate towards Osimhen. But I tell you, I think Toney is the sure deal. Arsenal don't have a lot of years before this group of players starts playing poorly, before we start cussing at them, before we start going, guys, get Benjamin White out. Guys, Odegaard is declining. Guys, this so-and-so is declining. So you want to use the best time of their careers maximally. You want to maximize what you can get out of this group of players, right? And I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to say, if we are going to do that, if that's the case, then without a doubt, it's Ivan Toney. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's Ivan Toney for me. It's Ivan Toney. Whoever's voted for Victor Osimhen, you are not wrong. But I'm going to tell you, my thinking and my theory is this: Arsenal just want goals. They don't want anything else. We just want goals, and we just want goals that will make us win the title, goals that will make us win the Premier League, the Champions League, probably. And I think Ivan Toney, because he's been in the Premier League, because he's performed at a high level before, I think he could be the guy. I think it could be. I think it would be the guy. Right. Let's see what you're saying in the comment box below. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well, and let me know. You can vote on the poll. Who is better? Osman is proving. Is proving a striker than Ivan Toney. Of course, Ivan Toney is not playing football right now. Jenny. Toney is not playing football right now. Yeah, yeah, Yasikan. says Coach DeSanto, watching from Uganda. Big up to you, Coach DeSanto. Emeka says Osimhen is from my place, and I wish he could come to Arsenal. Well, there is the African bit of it. I mean, we could be selfish here. Paul says Victor Osimhen is the better option. Ivan, I think, is better, according to Kamgisha, than Osimhen because he knows the Premiership much, much better. Watching it from Silla Rio says Toure, big up to you, Toure. Please, who can help me with the group link? I think you can check the description that is already there. Okay, Victor OS is the better striker for you, says Ossi Maxon. Okay, Jim says, I think Toney is better, but still, our financial status can't allow us in January, maybe in the summer. Definitely, definitely. Okay. Um, Tony plays in the EPL and it makes him a much better player than all the others, says Musa. Okay, and anyone, if they can be okay with us, I don't think you just sign anyone. I mean, there's so many strikers on the market right now. I don't think we need to settle for anyone. We need to bring in a striker that can actually do the job. So that is the update right there from Fabrizio Romano. The Arsenal are looking at both of them, and we could sign one of them either January or this summer. I speak to you right in the next one.